Hello, students. I welcome you to the first session of Art and Culture, February month. So, we have divided Art and Culture into two sessions this month. So, the sessions will be relatively short as compared to, for example, the previous Ecology session of March month. Right. So, let us quickly start. In the first session, we'll be seeing first of all some art forms, right, some festivals we will see, and finally we'll see some initiatives, right, not properly classified within inside it, just like we do in art and culture, but this will be the pattern. In the second one we will see some historical perspective, historical current affair, whatever be in the news, and some architectural point, right. For example, Hampi and all we will see in the next session. Right, let us start. First, start with Patola saris. So Patola saris are in the news because, just one second, yeah, they are in the news because KVIC has opened first silk processing plant in Gujarat to boost its production. So it is one of the GI tags of the Gujarat, right? So it's a double iktat woven sari. That means both the sides designs are there, made from the silk in the Gujarat. If you see the cost of these saris, it was around more than 1 lakh, more like 1,20,000 the cost of the saris, right? So it's a closely guarded family tradition. Um, so having this particular industry will obviously shoot up the increase the sale and availability, right, and cost of production will be reduced, and finally the price is high, hopefully will reduce, and so that many people can afford it, right. So just it also takes, because why cost is very high, apart from the technical things that are required, technical skills that are required, it takes around 6 months to 1 year to prepare one sari due to long process of dyeing each strand separately, right. Okay, so each strand is dyed separately, then they are woven to make saris, so that is why it takes a lot of time. Now they are highly valued also in Indonesia, and it became the part of the local weaving tradition. So as I told you, it is also a GI tag. So remember, which state? Gujarat. Do not confuse with Rajasthan, because many times confusion becomes many of the things in Gujarat and Rajasthan. So it is a Gujarat, right? Next is Chindu Yakshaganam. So Chindu Yakshaganam, it's a art from the state of Telangana. Okay, very old, 2nd century BC. Chindu basically means step, jump. Okay, so the art itself is interspaced by, that means periodically they take leaps and jumps in the while performing. So it gained, hence it get the name of Chindu Yakshagana. It is also known as the Chindu Bhagavatam because many of the themes are based upon the Bhagavad Puran. Okay, so it is derived from the caste Chindu Magadiga. So Magadiga is one of the SCs in the Karnataka state, in the Telangana state, and this particular caste Chindu Magadiga performs this particular Yakshagana. Okay, theater art. So this is Chindu Yakshagana. It was in the news. Obviously, many of, as we have discussed, majority of the arts that we read in art and culture, majority of them are on decline, right? Okay. Next is Kollam art. So Kollam art was in the news. We have read in our environment and ecology about the Bonn Convention. Okay, Convention on Migratory Species that held a Gandhinagar declaration also, right? In February 17th. So one of the art that represented the Gandhinagar declaration was in the CMS, that is Kollam art. So what is Kollam art? No. So first of all, Kollam art, you can relate it from your own state. For example, it is called Rangoli in Maharashtra. What we in the North India they saw in Diwali, we draw it on our floors with chalks and all, right? Geometric patterns, drawing composed of the curved loose, and all these things. What you need to remember also the regional names of it. For example, Aripan in Mithila, right? Rangoli is means Mugulu is Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Okay, right. So also favored in like South India and the Sri Lanka. So it's a form of the drawing art that is drawn by rice flour, chalk, powder, and all these things. Right. Next is from the next is, so remember why it was in the news, because of the Gandhinagar, and that is why it becomes important also. Next is Namaste Orcha festival. So this particular festival organized in the Orcha in the MP. Okay, so what is this festival? Basically, it's a showcasing the cultural diversity of the place, natural beauty, architectural heritage of the town. So that town is very famous. Now we'll see about this Orcha town, that it is nominated into the World Heritage Sites intangible list. It has gotten into the tentative list. So we have a list which are the intangible World Heritage sites, and there are some sites which are tentative, okay, that they will be moved to this particular list, right? So this is first of all, this particular festival is organized by the MP government, right? Now this is Orcha got into the UNESCO World Heritage Site. So they have a lot of archaeological history as well, historical, archaeological, and mythological history also. So the word from Orcha comes from the Ondoche, that means lower hidden, a phrase that will be used in that city. It is on the bank of the Betwa river. Okay, Betwa is the Can Betwa link, right? One of the first interlinking project also. Betwa is the tributary of which river? Tributary of the Yamuna river. Okay, so the Orcha was built by the Rudra Pratap Singh of Bundela. That means one of Bundela dynasty. So Bundela architecture is there, which has an influence of the Mughal architecture. Many of the things are there. We don't have to remember Chaturbhuj temple and all these things. One important temple is Raja Ram Mandir is there. So it is the only place in India where the Ram is worshipped as a king, not in a god form. Okay, so he held a sword, and holds a sword in this particular temple. So this is Shri Ram Raja Mandir. It is in the Orch. Also, some of the minarets are there, Jahangir Palace, some palaces are there, and that is why it has been nominated to the Intangible World Heritage Site itself, right? Okay. Next is Suraj Kund International Craft Mela. Now, very famous Suraj Kund Craft Mela. In fact, it is the largest craft fair in the world, being organized from 1987. Okay. Now it has been promoted to the international fair. That means around 20 countries from outside India also participates. For example, it was in the news, Uzbekistan craftsmen impress all at the Surajkund fair, right? So it is not only specific to Indians only. Now people from outside the country also come. So organized in the Haryana state. Okay, it takes around a lot of money is being paid to have your stall in this particular craft mela. Okay, it has been organized by the ministry of many ministries come together with Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Textile, Ministry of Culture, and Ministry of External Affairs. Right, so this is Surajkund International Craft Mela. Next is Historical Gastronomica. So what is this? Historical Gastronomica, not very important for prelims. So it was basically National Museum in Delhi is hosted a unique exhibition on India's ancient food history on the pattern of the Indus Valley civilization. So how Indus Valley civilization people used to eat, kind of thing. So have that experience for the people, right? So jointly promoted jointly by the National Museum and One Station Million Stories. What is this 1 million station story? It is a Delhi-based organization that specializes in the craft of storytelling through technical research. So basically, they do a lot of storytelling through all these organization, exhibitions, right? These exhibition, this arrangement like this, historically especially. So this is being arranged like that. Not very important for police perspective. Many of the fact of art and culture, to be honest, are not important. Please remember the festival things. And you see, art and culture, majority of the questions are being asked on the mains, on the static portion only. But in the static itself, what has to be read comes a bit from the current affair, gives just a glimpse to it. But I still feel more or less majority of the content comes from the static syllabus only. But we have to read art and culture, the current affair, right? Next is, please remember the festival, so that can be asked. Next is Samakha Sarakha Jatra. So it's a biennial tribal fair. That means it is organized once in 2 years in Telangana. So tribal fair organized in the Telangana, right? So please remember the name Samakha Sarakha Jatra. Next is Healing Christ statue. So it was in the news because it is in the Kerala, first of all, right? It is this particular around 2400 kg tri-metal sculpture is there. So it was in the news because it was included in the entered the Universal Record Forum, a book of world records. Again, not important. Next is Indian Digital Heritage Project. This is important. Okay, so from the name itself, digital heritage. So that means some sort of digitalization of our heritage, right? So the which ministry is involved, that is what you need to remember. So Ministry of Culture is not involved. Ministry of Department of Science and Tech is involved. Obviously there will be some coordination in Ministry of Culture, but the nodal ministry is Ministry of Science and Tech, Department of Science and Tech, right? So what it will do, digital documentation, interpretation of tangible and intangible heritage. So both tangible and intangible. I hope you know the difference between the two, very easy. So for example, yoga is an intangible heritage, Kumbh Mela is an intangible heritage. Tangible heritage is like a World Heritage site such as Hampi. So the idea is obviously to synergy of geospatial technologies with the ICT. So preserve, use and experience India's vast heritage. So first project under it was Digital Hampi. Okay, so right, this one, this particular is important. So it was in the news because it was digitally reconstructed under the Indian Digital Heritage Project. So what is this? This is Pompuhar. So it was the capital of the Chola dynasty. Okay. Now, if people say that from this context, Chola becomes important in the ancient history, I'll say okay. But in any case, you have to read Chola dynasty, right? It's very important in our ancient history or ancient history. Okay, right. So located on the river of the mouth, you can see from the location itself, mouth on the Kaveri river, mentioned also in the Sangam literature, right? And it's submerged due to rising sea level of that time. So you can give the example of the sea level climate change, right? It brought upon the downfall, or you can say the drowning of the such coastal cities, and how future is also threatened because of the climate change, impending climate change. Next is Kala Kumbh. So Kala means art, right? So it's a handcraft thematic exhibition. So this is being organized by the Ministry of Culture, right? So idea is to promote the GIs of the GI crafts and the heritage of India. Okay, so this particular, which is the implementing body, that is Export Promotion Council of Handicraft. Not very important. This is just a registered under Companies Act as a non for profit organization. So Kala Kumbh handicraft exhibition for the GI project. This is Ministry of Textile. This is what you need to focus. Okay. Next is classical language. So it was in the news, classical language. We have 6 classical language. It was in the news because it has been the demand that Marathi should be made a classical language. Okay, so now we have 6 classical language. The question can come you to arrange chronologically which language got the classical language status year wise. Okay, so started with the Tamil, then Sanskrit, then Kannada, then Telugu, Malayalam, and last one to got is Odia, right? What are the guidelines or what are the prerequisites for a language to become a classical language? So it must have antiquity of its earlier text recorded history. So it must be very old. So for that is why Hindi cannot be a classical language, right? Hindi's origin is very recent. Then a body of ancient literature should be there, right? Which should be considered valuable by the generation of the speakers. So there should be original text, just such as, for example, Vedas or Puranas that are written in the Sanskrit. Then it should be original, and more importantly, if the question comes, the last point will come, there can be some discontinuity between the classical language and its later form or in the modern form. So the option will be that there should be no discontinuity. So there the students can be confused. So there can be discontinuity. Okay. So focus on that. What are the benefits will occur if a language becomes a classical language? Not important for prelims again. However, let's read it out. So some sort of center of excellence, some sort of award or recognition will be given. Right. So UGC will give some research project. If someone wants to come up with a research project in the classical language, then it can be promoted. That's it. So 6 classical language. Remember, Sanskrit is there, right? In the southern state, if you talk about, so Malayalam is there, Tamil is there, Telugu is there, Kannada is there, right? Odia is there. So these are the 5, and then Sanskrit you can remember like that. Okay, right. In fact, my experience with the Kerala also told many of the people have told me that Malayalam has a lot of Sanskrit has a lot of influence on the Malayalam. Many of the terms of the Malayalam comes from Sanskrit. Next is Jaipur gets the UNESCO World Heritage Tag. So it is not in the March month, first of all, but I have not covered it. That's why I'm covering it. So Jaipur city got the tag of the World Heritage Site, along with other cities are there. However, they are not important because not of India, right? So it held session happened in Baku in Azerbaijan in the 43rd session of UNESCO. There it was decided. So something about Jaipur cities were founded in 1727 by Kachwaha Rajput ruler of Savai Jai Singh II. Okay, so it is very famous for its grid plan based architecture. Okay, and the building of the pink facade. So that is why it is also known as the Pink City. Okay, established in the plane and built according to the grid plan. And the plans came from the, some people say that the plans came from the Vedic architecture. What have been the guidelines have been laid down in the Vedic architecture, Vedic texts that have been used. Now, yeah, some urban planning also shows the intermingling of the ideas of so ancient Hindu, modern Mughals, and the Western cultures. Okay, so intermingling of the many of the cultures. So many things are there. Jantar Mantar, Hawa Mahal. This is the Hawa Mahal, right? Amer Fort, City Palace. But each detail is not relevant for us. So these are the different things. Nahargarh Fort, Hawa Mahal. Actually, I have not been to Jaipur. If you have been to, you can relate many of the beautiful places. I aspired to be there once, right? Next is Jallianwala Bagh National Memorial Amendment Bill. Now it has become an act. Okay, so the very basic idea was the government has said two things. First, that earlier in the trust which is there, so Congress, it Congress president was always a permanent member of the trust that runs the Jallianwala Bagh National Memorial. So there is a trust which runs this particular memorial. Okay, so Congress president was always the member. So the act says that Congress president will not be, now from on onwards, Congress president will not be the member. Okay, next, earlier it was said that leader of opposition should be the member of it. Now leader of opposition's name has been changed to the member of the leader of the single largest opposition party. The same problem that is faced in the Lokpal, because we do not have a proper leader of the opposition because of the reduced opposition number in our parliament. So this phase has been replaced by the leader of the single largest opposition party. Okay, removes the Congress president, first point. Second point, this. Third point, gives power to the center to terminate the terms of the nominated trustee before the expiry of term without assigning any reason. So gives power to the central government, right? So trust currently has the PM as the chairman, prime minister is the chairman, president of the Congress, which will be removed, cultural minister, leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha, name changed, Punjab governor and Punjab CM and its member. Okay, so this is that. Not very important for prelims, again I'll tell you. So this is being passed in both the houses, right? Last one we're going to discuss is Dong Bandh system. So this can be asked in the exam because this particular this is a water conservation method, okay, employed in the northeast. In the northeast it has been employed for water irrigation and the drinking purpose, water purposes. Now very important because as we have discussed in the environmental also, day zero is coming, right? Many of the cities in India, water crisis, Minister of Jal Shakti has issued guidelines. uh, I've told you many times water crisis and all, right? And in the PIB they have also mentioned, while talking about the conservation effort, they have mentioned about the Dong Bandh system. So what is basically in system, very thematic idea I'll give you. So basically water is coming, so they build canals, many of the canals they build, right? And slopy canals they build so that the water goes to the people. That's it, the very basic idea. So they build network of the canals, use the downhill flow of the river. Okay, so they'll make canals such as on the basis of the gravity, so the water goes to the villagers and their fields, right? And this is how they can crop, it is said, 3 crops in a year, so get a lot of water. Okay, so if the question will come, question will be very easy. The system is used where, first of all, and what, that's it. What is this system only? That will be the very easy question if the question is being asked. Now let us quickly revise what we have done. It started with the Patola sarees, where I've told you very costly sarees are there, right? They are the GI tag from the which state? Gujarat state. And why they're in the news? Because KVIC has set up a processing plant. There's Chindu Yakshagana in the Telangana. Then Kola Mart we have read, named by different names. Then Namaste Orcha, and what is important is Orcha city is named as the world, included in the world intangible world heritage site tentative. Okay, not the world heritage sites per se. When it will become a part of what it is, then it becomes a bigger news. Then Suraj Kund Mela, very important Mela, right? Organized in the Haryana. Then historical gastronomica, not very important. Indus dining experience. Then festival Samalakha Sarakka Jatra, that is biennial tribal fair happening in the Telangana. Then healing Christ statue, that statue is in the Kerala, included in the Universal Records Forum. Then digital health project, Indian digital heritage project, not health project. So by Ministry of Science and Tech, and under it the first project has been the digital Hampi, and the next one is Pom Puhar. Okay, next is Kala Kumbh, handicraft thematic exhibition. Right. Next is classical language. We have seen some of the criteria for the classical language, and the 6 classical language already there. The call is to include Marathi also in this particular classical language. Then Jaipur gets the UNESCO World Heritage status. Next is Jalalabad, not very important. And lastly, the Dongband system of the Northeast for the water conservation. With this, we finish our first session of art and culture. In the second session, as I told you, we'll discuss some historical fact and some of the architectural things. Okay, bye bye for now. See you in the next class. Thank you.